G'day humans, Chris Stead from Finder here. I'm talking NFT games. Today the topic is Splinterlands. Now this isn't a new title, it's actually been around since about 2018, but it saw a real peak in popularity about mid-2021. However, 2022 looks like it's going to be the year for Splinterlands, with 4 big changes coming that I think are going to dramatically change the experience and the way that we engage with Splinterlands. So let's dive in, take a closer look. For those not in the know, Splinterlands is a collectible card game, or CCG. Think Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering, except in this case the cards themselves are NFTs. Now, the cards have been released periodically in different sets and editions over the years, and when you begin a game, you've got to choose 7 cards from your collection that are going to go into battle. Now, those cards have different roles and rarities and so forth and abilities, so you've got like your tanks, your melee, your ranged, your defensive units, that type of thing. You select your 7 cards, you order them into the order that you want them to be placed in battle, and off you go with effectively an auto battler experience where the cards are in play, the fight happens, and a winner emerges. So that's more or less the experience that we've had so far with Splinterlands. There's obviously a lot more depth and strategy than what I've gone into there, but that's the overall experience you can expect. Okay, now let's see how that's going to change. Now the first key change I'm going to talk about is probably the most subtle. It's a change in the way that the ranked battles work. Currently, any player that plays the game can choose their 7 cards from any card that's been released in the history of Splinterlands. Now, obviously people who've been playing for longer will have those older and rarer cards that came out in the initial years as opposed to newcomers. Now what we're going to see is a change here where the ranked battle experience is going to be split into 2 parts. You're going to have the wild mode, which is pretty much the status quo as it is played right now, and then you're going to have a modern ranked battle arena, or ranked battle matches. Now in the modern battle, only the cards from recent editions can be selected, and in fact when it launches it'll be the Chaos Legions and Untamed editions are the only sets that you'll be able to select your 7 cards from. Now this creates quite a change obviously for the way that the game is played, because in this mode newcomers to the game will have a much more accessible experience and be able to be much more competitive than the current modes where you're playing against people with these rare and better cards. This also opens the door up to scholars, as they won't have to rent the more expensive and harder to get cards to be competitive when they're playing Splinterlands. Now speaking of scholars, point number 2 also benefits the growth of the play to earn experience in Splinterlands. So at the moment when you play, you earn dark energy crystals or DEX tokens for winning. Now these tokens don't hold a lot of value on the open market. However, through 2022, at some point we're going to see the addition of Splinter Shards or SDS tokens into the winning mechanics. So when you win, you not only get DEX, but you also get SDS. Now SDS holds more value, and therefore at the moment, Splinterlands as a play to earn experience for scholars is very marginal, and really there's not much there for them. But when they start adding the SDS tokens to the DEX tokens for winning battles, and this is not just in ranked matches but also in the guild brawls, you're going to be able to provide a better experience for scholars, but also guilds, a better earning potential and more viability as this is a playing experience. This should create greater demand within the game, and when you're joined with the modern ranked modes and the next 2 points that I'm going to bring up here should drive a stronger economy, which obviously benefits the game overall. Okay, here's the big one, right? They're adding land NFTs to Splinterlands. Now, we've seen land on lots of games, but the way it's going to work in Splinterlands is particularly interesting. They're going to be selling these NFTs in plots, and there's going to be 1,000 plots per region. I'm not sure how many regions there's going to be at this point. Now each plot of land is going to have a splinter alignment. So splinters are kind of the element within this game, like fire, water, that type of thing. And they're also going to have resources on them, and the resources are going to be split up between natural resources, magical resources, and occupied resources, which is a weird name, but basically that means that the plot is filled with monsters that you'll be able to harvest. Now, what's really interesting is you're going to be able to build a factory on your plot of land. You're going to be able to staff that factory with one of your cards, one of your players. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that may be a staking process. And then once they're there harvesting the resources, they will be able to produce item and spell cards, which are going to be sold back into the player base, back to the humans playing the game to be used in battles. Now what's particularly interesting about all of this and the approach that they're taking is that Splinterlands developer itself will not be making any item or spell cards. This will be completely player driven. And it's really exciting to think about this whole entire new marketplace and economy that'll be unfolding within the game after this is released. But not only that, the new town building and management experience that'll be added as an extra layer on top of the CCG will hopefully be a lot of fun and make the game just that much more enjoyable overall. Now, the arrival and spell and item cards also plays into my fourth big change, which is coming to Splinterlands, because their addition is going to change the core gameplay experience themselves. So as it currently stands, it's effectively an auto battler. All the strategy comes from choosing your 7 cards and aligning your 7 cards in the way that you want to position them in the battle. And after that point, it's effectively a passive experience. However, when items and spells come into the experience, there will be a real-time engagement in those battles. You'll be able to watch what's unfolding, see how the sway of battle is going, and then play an item or a spell to use its ability or its buff to influence the way that the battle is going. So all of a sudden it's going to become, effectively, there's going to be some real-time skill and some real-time strategy involved in the Splinterlands battle experience. So that's going to dramatically add a layer of depth and a layer of skill and experience to the way that Splinterlands is played. And you can see here when you look at all these 4 steps that have been taken through 2022, how Splinterlands as an experience is really going to get a lot deeper. So there you go, those are my 4 reasons why I think Splinterlands is not only going to change forever in 2022, but become a much more enjoyable and fun experience on the way. I'm Chris Stead from Finder. Please subscribe, check out some of my other videos so I can keep bringing you all the latest and greatest from the NFT gaming space. Otherwise, check you later. No worries.